On this problem, we're given this function, s of t, is equal to 7e to the negative t times sine t. And we're asked to find the average value of this function over 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so I've written down the average value formula. F is equal to 1 over b minus a. This is your interval, 0 to 2 pi. And these are your limits as well of f of x dx. And of course, our f of x will be this function here. Okay, so let's start by writing it down. We have f is equal to 1 over 2 pi minus 0 times the integral from 0 to 2 pi of 7e to the negative t times sine t dt. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to ignore the 1 over 2 pi that's out front. I'll come back to that later, but for now I'm just going to focus on this integral. And this integral I will call a. Okay, so let's figure out what the integral a is. So a is equal to just the integral from 0 to 2 pi of 7e to the negative t sine t dt. Okay, so what we're going to do to solve this integral is we're going to use integration by parts. So I'm going to say that my u in integration by parts, u is equal to 7e to the negative t, and du is equal to negative 7e to the negative t dt. Okay, and I'll choose my dv to be the sine. Okay, so dv is sine of t. Okay, which makes my v equal to negative cosine. That's when I take the antiderivative of sine t. Okay, and just in case you don't recall, integration by parts will give you the formula here. If you have the integral from a to b of u times dv, that's equal to uv integrated over that ab minus the integral from a to b of v du. Okay, so we're going to be using that formula, so we can write that down over here. So a is equal to, okay, so it's uv, so u is 7e to the negative t, and v is negative cosine, so I'll stick the negative out front, negative cosine. Okay, that takes care of the first part. And then minus the integral, whoops, let's go ahead and say yes, we are integrating from 0 to 2 pi, let's not forget that. And also 0 to 2 pi here on this integral of v du, so both of those are negative, so negative 7e to the negative t times a negative cosine t dt. Okay, and I need to clean that up, obviously. So let's clean up. We've got 3 negative signs, this one, and this one. So I'll just put the one negative sign out front. So a is equal to negative 7e to the negative t cosine t integrated from 0 to 2 pi minus, because we have 3 negatives, 0 to 2 pi of 7e to the negative t cosine t dt. Okay, so we're not yet going to apply these limits here. We're going to work on this problem. So this problem we're going to use integration by parts again. Okay, so I'll make my u equal to 7e to the negative t, and of course that makes my du the same as last time, negative 7e to the negative t dt. And this time I'll make my v, or my dv, equal to cosine t, which makes my v, the antiderivative, equal to sine t. Okay, so we have a is equal to negative 7e to the negative t times cosine t integrated from 0 to 2 pi. And then we use the integration by parts that we've chosen here. So uv, so here's the minus sign. Don't forget this minus sign that was before the integral. So here's the minus sign, and let's open up a parentheses here, or a bracket. Okay, so uv will be 7e to the negative t times sine t. Okay, uv minus, oh, that's also 0 to 2 pi, minus the integral from 0 to 2 pi of, and that will be v du, which is negative 7e to the negative t times sine t dt. Okay. All right, so let's clean that up here. Let's distribute some negative signs. So we distribute this, it makes this term negative. Okay, and we distribute the negative here, but it also has a negative here, and it also has a negative here. So just like up here, we have 3 negatives on this one. So it'll turn into just the 1 negative out front. Okay, so we get A is equal to negative 7 e to the negative t cosine t. Okay, and I'm going to drop this here because I'm about to include this from the 0 to 2 pi. So minus 7e to the negative t sine t, and that'll get integrated from 0 to 2 pi, all of it. Okay, that takes care of this term, that takes care of this term, and now when I distribute the negatives here, there's 3 negatives, it becomes positive. Negative, excuse me, becomes negative 3 negatives. Okay, so that becomes negative minus 0 to 2 pi of 7e to the negative t sine t dt. Okay, so it might not look like we're making any progress to you, but we actually are, because if you remember this right here, that's a. Okay, it's exactly the same as what we labeled a. The integral from 0 to 2 pi of 7e to the negative t sine t. That's what we have here. Okay, so this is going to end up being minus a. Instead of writing all the integrals, we can just say minus a. Okay, so instead of minus this, it's minus a. So we would move the a over to the other side by adding a. So this other side becomes 2a when we add another a, equals negative 7 e to the negative t cosine t minus 7e to the negative t sine t from 0 to 2 pi. Okay. Now I want to get the a by itself because that's what I'm looking for, a, not 2a, so I just divide that over. Okay, so divide everything by 2, so I get a is equal to negative 7e to the negative t, and let's go ahead and factor that out. They both have it, right? They both have this negative 7e to the negative t term, so let's factor that out and do a parentheses here. And remember, we're dividing by 2 because it's 2a, we only want the a, so we divide by 2, 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so there's what we have. Now we need to evaluate. Okay, so quick reminder, cosine when we put a 2 pi in there becomes 1. Sine when we put a 2 pi in there becomes 0, and it's the same with 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, sine of 0 is 0. Okay, so that's what's going to happen when we plug in. So this a equals negative 7e to the negative 2 pi, plugging in the top limit, and then we get 1 plus 0 because we're plugging in a 2 pi. So cosine of 2 pi is 1, or sine of 2 pi is 0, divided by 2. And then minus the lower limit when we plug in, so minus negative 7e to the negative 0. A lot of negatives floating around. Be careful with those. Easy to make a mistake. Okay, so we do that, and then we put in the 0 inside there, so that's going to be, again, a 1 plus 0 on top. Okay, so clean that up once more, and we get, let's see, combine the common denominator. So we get negative 7e to the negative 2 pi. Negative times a negative is a positive, and anything to the 0 power, even negative 0, becomes a 1. So this e term goes away. It becomes a 1. So the negative times the negative 7 becomes a positive 7. And we're dividing by 2. So that's A. But remember, that's not the average value. The average value, if you go back to what we were doing earlier, you have to multiply that by 1 over pi, so, or 1 over 2 pi. So f becomes 1 over 2 pi times negative 7e to the negative 2 pi plus 7 over 2. Clean that up, and we get that our average value is negative 7e to the negative 2 pi plus 7 divided by 4 pi. And that's the average value of the function 7e to the negative t times sine t over the interval 0 to 2 pi.